Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to welcome you back to our March 3rd, 2014 Morganton City Council meeting. At this time, I would like to get Forrest Fleming, our City Councilman, to lead us with our Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, let's get old Barry in there. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated.
At this time, I'd like to call on Jasper Hemphill, pastor of the Ecclesia Bible Institute Faith Center.
Good afternoon.
Thank you, Jasper, for being with us.
Thank you for the opportunity. Let us pray. Father God, I thank you for allowing us to come together one more time. As you continue to lead us and guide us in all that we say and all that we do, that it be done to the glory of your holy name and for the upbuilding of your kingdom. Let us hear with your ears, let us see with your eyes, and let us know that you're with us and that you'll never leave us nor forsake us. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Jasper.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
That was just right.
Introduction of our City Council on my far right is Ronnie Thompson, City Councilman, Forrest Fleming, City Councilman, Louis V. Nye, our attorney for the city. I'm Mel Cohen, Mayor. Sally Sandy is City Manager. Sidney Simmons, City Councilman. What is your name? John Cantrell, City Councilman. And Kelly Russell, Recording Secretary. And Joy Hearn Guzman is interpreting for our deaf community. Presentation of the service pins. Neither person are here tonight. We have Gary Beam, who is a Public Works Department equipment operator for 20 years. And Ronnie Parker, Water Resources Department, wastewater senior compost operator for 25 years. We will see that they get their pins. Public advocacy issues. I'm going to read two resolutions of appreciation to the Western Piedmont Community College on their 50th anniversary. Whereas the City Council of the City of Morganton in executive session on March 3rd, 2014 took official notice of Western Piedmont Community College's upcoming 50th anniversary on April 2nd, 2014. Whereas Western Piedmont Community College has recognized since its founding in 1964 that the economic prosperity of our community depends on an educated citizenry and workforce. And whereas the college continually seeks to fulfill this mission by providing learning opportunities that enrich the lives of area residents, enabling them to pursue rewarding work. And whereas the college offers service learning and civic engagement activities while meeting the needs of the local community. And whereas the college continues to provide accessible, high-quality education that improves the lives and promotes the growth of our community. And whereas the college strives to provide excellence in teaching in the programs and services it offers Burke County residents. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Morganton wishes to acknowledge and express their sincere appreciation to Western Piedmont Community College. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be sent to Western Piedmont Community College on the occasion of the 50th anniversary on April 2nd, 2014, and that a copy be made an official part of the minutes of the March 3rd, 2014 Morganton City Council meeting. Adopted this the third day of March 2014, Mel Cohen, Mayor. Sally Sandy, City Clerk. Making this form of a motion.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, nobody here to accept that, is there? Resolution of support for the Western Piedmont Western Piedmont Council of Governments investing in manufacturing communities program application. Whereas the Western Piedmont Council of Governments is designated by the Economic Development Administration, the EDA, as an economic development district, and said district includes Alexander, Burke, Caldwell, Catawba counties. That's the Morganton, Lenoir, Hickory metropolitan statistical area. And whereas the region continues to sustain a long tradition of manufacturing, employed as many as 79,689 persons within an employment sector in 2000. And whereas regional manufacturers currently employ 37,771 persons, representing 27% of the workforce, 3 times the national average of 9%. And whereas manufacturing wages in the region pay 16% higher than the average wage. And whereas the Investing in Manufacturing Communities program, the IMCP, challenge is an initiative of various federal agencies designed to accelerate the resurgence of manufacturing in the United States. And whereas the United States government ranks the region highly for its concentrations of manufacturing in the furniture and textile sectors. And whereas the EDA plans to designate 12 regions as manufacturing communities. And whereas the Western Piedmont Council of Governments and its partners developed an application to submit to the Economic Development Administration. And whereas the IMCP initiative presents opportunities for the region to sustain and grow manufacturing employment for the benefit of the citizens of our community. And whereas the benefits derived from such a designation advances the region's economic development efforts and improves the quality of life for its residents. And now, therefore, be it resolved that Morganton supports the IMCP application, agrees to serve as a regional partner, and encourages the federal agencies to designate the Economic Development District as a manufacturing community. Adopted this the third day of March 2014. Mel Coyne, Mayor. Sally Sandy, City Clerk. Taken in the form of a motion.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Scott, would you come and accept this from me? I'll be long-winded.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your support. I'm not the Council of Governments, but we are involved in this process. A little bit about this. It's a competitive grant process. The EDA is going to designate up to 12 manufacturing partnership communities, and that will be eligible up to $1.3 billion in funding to continue to grow manufacturing. The goal of this grant is to bring back manufacturing in the United States. We think we have an excellent shot at it. Burke Development was a recipient of a predecessor to this grant where we were the only economic development organization to receive a grant versus regions throughout the United States. So we're using the same methodology we're using with the Carolina Textile District. We're just doing it with furniture and textiles, which they designated would be our target industries. And if we receive the designation of one of the 12, we're eligible for up to $1.3 billion in continued grant funding. They assign us a cabinet contact. That means someone that we can actually call and facilitate in a lot of areas, as well as designation of being one of the areas and further access to resources. So, it would be a tremendous opportunity for this region. Again, we're working with the three partners in the Unifor, and think we have a great team, great approach, and a great story to tell. And the good thing is we have a high concentration in manufacturing, and that's what they're looking for. So we think we have a very competitive process, and thank you for your support tonight.
Thank you, Scott. Scott is Executive Director of our Burke Partnership, BPED, Burke Partnership for Economic Development.
Yes, sir.
BDO.
One of them. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brad Boris, Director of Water Wastewater and Christmas Trees.
Hello, just wanted to give you all a little update on the Mountain View water tank project that back in the late fall, we all know that we removed the old abandoned water tank, which was serving as a communications tower. The last few weeks, we've had some movement forward. The footer's been excavated, foundation, rebar's been put into place, concrete pad has been poured, and some soil and concrete testing is being done as we speak. Right now, I have with me a sample of one of the branches. It's branch material that's going to be on the monopole. This right here is a color sample and material sample of what the pole itself is going to be made out of. So I'd like to bring these to you and let you take a look at them. The pole should be on site around the first week of April, and hopefully the project will be finished up sometime in the middle of May. So, thank you.
Thank you, Brad. It's a new memorial light tree, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. Mm-hmm.
It's heavy.
It is.
I'd sure
First
like to have them on
color
oak.
sample I've ever had of a tree. Would just say. But it's nice.
It's nice. Very
good.
nice.
Mm-hmm.
Major Bradshaw,
On April.
Department of Public Safety.
Good evening. I just want to take a moment and update you on some equipment that's received by the Morganton Department of Public Safety from the Governor's Highway Safety Program. Each year we participate in the different campaigns across the state, and as we participate, we report back to the state agency of our progress with our numbers and keeping the citizens safe and keeping the activities on the roadway. In addition to that, they award points to the department for reporting and participating. And this year, because of the hard work of the men and women of the Morganton Department of Public Safety, we received 2 complete in-car camera systems valued at $13,000, $6,500 each, free of charge, no cost to the city of Morganton whatsoever. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good
Appreciate
job.
it.
Great.
Anything else on? Just want to again thank Scott Luckadoo and Public Works. They did an outstanding job throughout the entire city of Morganton when we had our 8-inch snowstorm. And hopefully that'll be the last one we have. But I want you to express that to all the Public Works guys and any of the wastewater guys that have had to be out on maintenance for any busted water lines. Public safety for being out in that storm. So, and electric guys that had we've had some outages in electricity due to wrecks and all. So be sure to express that to our department heads and their employees, Sally. Municipal Power Agency, number 1.
Can report to you that the rate committee is now on schedule to meet, and they'll be meeting in March, and then sometime after that we'll know what our wholesale price increases are going to look like. So we're starting with that budget process as well.
Very good. Consent agenda, Sally.
The consent agenda tonight includes 4 individual items. They are considered to be non-controversial. Would ask that you consider approving those in one motion unless someone would like an item removed and discussed separately. For those of you viewing at home, the items are minutes from the February 3rd meeting, tax releases in the amount of $720.07, standard and update of standard and specifications for water and sewer line construction materials, and the approval of the 2014 downtown calendar of events.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Have a motion second.
Sorry.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? New business, consideration of agreement to extend the contract for sale of property at 502 College. Sally?
You'll recall back April 1st of 2013, the city entered into a contract for sale to sell the property located at 500 and 502 College Street to the School for the Deaf and Blind Community. The Deaf School Foundation is actually who we're working with, but this is the LLC. At that time, the purchase price was $550,000. The group paid a deposit of $27,500, and that gave them until March 31st to get the project completed or underway and to do the land purchase. In that contract, there was opportunity for up to a 6-month extension if progress was being made. The group has requested, as they are still making progress toward that, they've been evaluating several options, as you know, for a 3-month extension with an opportunity to get the other 3 months if necessary. So this would be an extension to June 30th, 2014. And if progress is still being made at that time, they have the opportunity to request another 3 months. And that would be for no more deposit because our contract at the time said that they could have up to the 6 months.
For benefit of getting it to the discussion stage, motion to approve agreement to extend the contract for sale with the Senior Deaf and Blind Community Incorporated for property located at 500-502 South College Street.
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Consideration to call for a public hearing to consider an amendment to the downtown municipal service district. Sally, or I'm sorry, Louis.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Members of the council, you'll recall that at the workshop meeting on February 7th, this issue of the municipal downtown municipal service district tax was discussed, and I believe directions were given to me as city attorney to prepare documentation on that. The changes that we talked about at the workshop and that staff would suggest would probably be treated as an amendment or extension of the actual district boundaries, and therefore a public hearing must be held before that can be done. You will and notice published and so forth. You will recall that one of the issues was that there are 23 identified properties under the 1994 resolution's description that seem to be excluded, although this was rather vague, from the district boundaries, and that we were seeking to clarify that those will be included within the district boundaries and subject to the tax. To do that, it is necessary to hold a hearing, and therefore, and it's only after the hearing may you adopt a resolution, if you so choose, to clarify the definition of the boundaries. Therefore, what the motion here would be to simply call for a hearing at the April 7th meeting.
Mayor, I make a motion to call for a public hearing on amendment of the 1994 resolution annexing additional areas into the downtown municipal service district to be held at 6 p.m. on Monday, April 7, 2014 in City Council chambers.
Second. Have the motion. We have a second. Discussion.
Louis, we have to have this public hearing to actually clarify the boundaries,
Oh,
correct?
yes, clearly. No question.
Anyone else?
You're so much younger.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Consideration of first responder service agreement with the Burke County Rescue Squad and with Glen Alpine Fire Department. Sally.
For some time, we have been receiving first responder service from the Burke County Rescue Squad and for a portion of the city limits with the Glen Alpine Fire Department, and we've done so without any formal written contracts. We are suggesting to you that we enter into a formal contract and establish those relationships, just as has been done with other agreements throughout Burke County, and the one proposed to you is modeled after those agreements. You have a map included in your packets that show the portion of the city that the Glen Alpine Fire Department would cover, and then the portion that would be covered by the rescue squad. There's been numerous meetings with these entities, and they are in agreement with this and ready to provide the service, and we have folks from the rescue squad here tonight, and would ask that you consider entering into this contract.
And if I may add, Mr. Mayor, the map that's actually attached in your agenda, I believe, just shows the area that Glen Alpine would cover. The contract with the rescue squad has a rather larger scale map that designates the Glen Alpine area in this same fashion, but shows the entire city.
Everything but that.
Everything but that,
basically.
Right. Yes.
I move to enter into a formal contract with the Burke Rescue Squad Incorporated and the Glen Alpine Fire Department for the provision of first responder services within the city limits of Morganton.
Second.
Have a motion second. Discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Consideration of appointments to the Community House Board of Control. Sally.
The Community House Board of Control appointments are up, and you have some folks who have suggested that they would like to be appointed to that board. You also have several folks who have been serving on that board that would like to continue. And that is a council appointment, I believe.
It is. Make a motion to reappoint Wanda Burnett and Marcelle Spees, and to appoint, that was to reappoint those two, and appoint Phil Scarborough, Kay Dignan, Ron George, and Colleen Bennett to the Community Board, Building Board of Control for terms to expire December 31, 2015.
Second.
Have the second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, we have two items. One, consideration of appointment by the mayor to the Morganton Housing Authority Board of Commissioners. And that would like to appoint Adriana Morris to the Morganton Housing Authority Board of Commissioners for a term to expire on February 1, 2019. I don't need a motion or second on that. Consideration of a resolution requesting support of local legislation delegation to support certain amendments to the Charter of Morganton, North Carolina. Sally.
Suffice it to say that over the last several years and the last months, there has been much discussion about the election method used by the City of Morganton. Currently, the City of Morganton uses the election runoff method that was chosen in the 70s and has been what our charter has required for us to do since then. That is one of the allowable election methods by the state of North Carolina. Have been talking a lot about if that method were changed to the plurality method, that would be an opportunity to save the citizens of Morganton some money. Most recently, Debbie Mace appeared who is the elections director for Burke County, at the workshop that we held at the Community House on February the 7th and talked about this. At that time, Ms. Mace indicated that had we held our election in November of 2013 with the school board and the other municipalities, that would have cost us less than $1,000. And our election cost us roughly about $15,000. So in that case, we would have saved $14,000. Also had Ms. Mace clarify at that meeting that if you do consider changing your election method and the venue for voting, where folks would be assigned to vote then in the city election, would change, that requires a notification to the registered voters. We did that when we turned our elections over to the county, and the cost to do that was a little over $4,700. Ms. Mace indicated that if you change and go to November, when there is a countywide election going on, that cost would be borne by Burke County. So that could also, if you decide to change, save another $5,000 roughly that we would have to spend. In researching what other folks do and other election methods, it came to the attention that in most cities in North Carolina, there are 500 and some cities and towns in North Carolina, all but 19 of them have done away with any recall provisions in their charters. In looking at that, it appears that ours, when you look at the 19 that still have them, could certainly use some modernizing and some updating. So you have before you a resolution that would request our local legislative delegation to run a local bill in the short session of the General Assembly that would cause amendments to the charter, changing the election method to plurality and modernizing the recall provisions of the city charter.
Mayor, I make a motion to approve the resolution requesting the support of the local legislative delegation to support certain amendments to the Charter of Morganton.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion second. Want to commend our delegation in Raleigh for taking the lead on moving forward with the rewrite of our charter. Again, I want to thank them because in the short session, it's the easiest time to do it. But I will tell you that the charter would be the best way to do it, because if we did it by a city council vote, it would only be for one election, and that's not the way to do it. So that's what we usually do in April before our 2015 election. This is the way to do it. And when Debbie Mace with the Board of Elections mentioned that it would be well below $1,000, you can't argue with that. And doing the mailings for us for nothing, for our elections to be the same as Hildebrand, Ackerd, Drexel, Glen Alpin, Valdez, can't beat it. So I second it. Any other discussion?
Well, I think that at the election back in October, my eyes were opened about some of the disadvantages of what we had chosen. I guess when we turned this over to the county a few years ago, there was a certain amount of confusion about where the voters would be voting. And I saw people being turned away from one location to have to go to another. Now, that's only on election day that happens. During the early voting, you could vote at either place. That's a true advantage. Now, one of the things that I don't think has been brought up publicly is when we go this way, there will be City of Morganton residents voting out in the county at different precincts. Now, that's a disadvantage, but I think the advantages outweigh that, and the going to plurality, that's a very complicated thing. That may be or may not be an advantage to a candidate, so time will tell. But I think this is the right move.
There are 11 precincts, 11 voting precincts that have City of Morganton voters in them.
And like you said, John, we never had that problem when we were running the election in the city of Morganton.
Right,
But, you know,
it cost us over $30,000 an election, if I remember right.
no, nowhere near that, I don't think.
Well, but it was when we made our first change, we saved, and it's well, time will tell, and I think at this point, this is the right direction.
Best way to go.
And if I may add one thing as well, that this is the only way to move the election to November. You can't, that's just the way the state law in North Carolina is set up. If you want to have the election in November and only in November, this is the way you
Only way
have
to
to
do
go.
it, yeah.
And it does assure that there would not be ever any runoff elections. That's the other.
I think that's a good point, and I voted for this, and I think too it's the right thing to do. I think also it's been pointed out to me numerous times that I feel this is what the people of the city of Morganton would like for us to do, even though I see as being, and you have to look at all of it, and I see that the only thing that I feel that will be the downside of this is the simple fact that by moving the election to November, then the person who gets the most votes will win the election, as opposed to the way that we have been doing it in the past, that a person would need to get 50% of the vote plus additional votes. So the way we have done it in the past, then a person that got elected under the way that we have been doing it would see a larger percentage of actual representation of the people as far as the votes go. But when it goes to November, whoever gets the most votes is going to be the person that's elected, which means that a person could win the election in November on one vote, two votes. If they get the most votes, if it's one vote, then they're going to be the winner of the election. So maybe some folks out there might see that as being a downside to it. I personally feel it would be a downside to it, but I think the people want this, and I think we need to do what the people want.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Any other discussion?
One more point, May, if I could, for our attorney. People, as Sally mentioned, we have people who live out in the county, out in precincts but are in the city, and they would those folks would get a city ballot and a school board ballot. Those folks who are not in the city limits, when they went to that polling place, would just get a school board ballot, correct?
That is correct.
Both nonpartisan elections, correct?
Unless the legislature decrees otherwise at some point, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
We'll see how good the Board of Election is. That's going to be a test.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you. Anything further from staff or city council members? Meeting adjourned.